What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pick Six Podcast, CBS Sports Daily NFL Podcast. I'm Will Brinson. I'm your host. It is Sunday, March 21st. Actually, I guess Monday, March 21st. If you're listening to the podcast, we are live streaming on YouTube on Sunday, March 21st. Monday, March 22nd, I guess. So it would be because the day actually changes. And joining me to do a mock draft Monday, the one, the only, Amanda's feeling dangerous, Ryan Wilson. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, found my what's his name?
Baker Mayfield shirt. Yeah.
I was thinking Johnny Manziel. Yeah, my Baker Mayfield shirt because it's finally warmed up here in the 60s. So I thought I would.
Wow, that's pretty good. It's in the 50s here.
Yeah, I got you some tickets to the gun show today and broke out the feeling dangerous shirt.
Well, you love to see it. I went and got breakfast this morning on Sunday morning, and I wore shorts, and I was freezing outside. It was like 50 degrees.
You wore shorts with your driving moccasins, right?
No, I put on tennis shoes.
Oh, look at that! Fancy.
I was going up to Big Ed's to get myself a delicious little.
You got a like. Let me guess. You got like some sort of breakfast sandwich.
I did.
Yeah.
You want to guess what it was?
Eggs, bacon, and cheese.
Very close.
On a biscuit.
Very correct on a biscuit. You missed the protein though.
Oh, sausage.
Nope.
Bacon, sausage. What else is left?
Cajun chicken, baby.
Oh, that's something I haven't heard. Like I'm a sausage guy. My kids and my wife like bacon. I rather prefer sausage on my egg biscuit.
I am a. I think
that's a new thing though. Cajun chicken. That wasn't a thing 30 years ago when I lived in North Carolina.
You get a Bojangles.
Yeah, but you went to not a chain. You went to like a
Big Ed's is like this local breakfast bar. Anyway, I don't know.
Local hipster place. Yeah.
No, it's not a hipster place. The line was out the door to get in there too. And I wanted to sit around, eat my biscuit, and watch some basketball. That's right. It is madness time in the sports world with the NCAA tournament in full swing. You're a diehard sports fan, which means you want to stay in the know with all sports. And that's where CBS Sports HQ is your streaming answer. Just think about what's on tap this week alone. MLB spring training, the NBA trade deadline, UFC 260, NFL free agency fallout and draft coverage, plus golf picks, the U.S. men's national team. So much. We could go on forever, really, but you get it. Sports never sleeps, and neither does CBS Sports HQ. It's available on your computer, your phone, via the CBS Sports app, and your connected TV. I leave it on all day, and if you live and breathe sports, I'd encourage you to do so as well. I believe you can also watch it through Paramount Plus. Right? Yes.
Debo says yes.
Okay, cool. I use sure he does. I have an LG TV in our living room, and it's one of those like it's the first smart TV I've ever had. Like really, like it's the apps on the bottom. It's so cool. Like it's like there's a Paramount Plus. Like I hit the home button, and it pops up in Paramount Plus right there. Awesome. So it's easy to get to. I love it. Anywho, let's do mock draft 6.0. Of course, wait, before we get that, Kenny Golladay signed with the New York Giants. What'd you think about that, Wilson?
It's a pretty big money deal. 4 years, 72. I'm guessing. I saw it and then I haven't written it down yet, but that's what I think it is. It's not a small money deal based on what we saw over the course of free agency that these wide receivers got.
Yes. $17 million signing bonus per Mike Florio, who got the full contract, he claims. Base salary of $13 million in 2022. There's a base salary of $1 million in 2021. Okay. And $10 million of that 2022 base salary is fully guaranteed.
Yeah, 472. I got that right. So here's the interesting thing. So in terms of average annual value, it's eighth, 4, 5, 6, 7, seventh among all the wide receivers. So he's behind Odell Beckham, Michael Thomas, Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen, Julio, and DeAndre Hopkins is number one. Which you thought, and this is typically how it works for the quarterbacks. When you're up, you're the highest paid quarterback when it's all said and done until the next guy's up. Clearly, and Pete Prisco tweeted this out during the week, and some Lions fans got angry at him. He said a lot of NFL teams view Kenny Golladay as a number two, and I think the market proved that he's the number two. The market proved that Juju Smith-Schuster is a number two. He signed a 1 year, $8 million deal. And the interesting thing about Juju, by the way, is that.
I would disagree. I don't think the market proves he's number two. I think it's like the market. I think the salary cap was reduced. There weren't as many teams in on the big name wide receivers, and he doesn't have like the historical production of Hopkins, Julio, Keenan Allen, Amari, Michael Thomas.
There's probably some truth to that, but there are guys that got paid. Judon got paid. Johnny Smith got paid. The Joe Tooney got paid. So there are guys that got paid in a salary cap crunch. But I do think that Kenny Golladay is maybe more a 1.5 instead of a 2 or 1.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And the injury history may be a concern. Juju's a 2. And I think that's legit. Not really much up for debate. I mean, he had a chance to go. Juju did to go to Kansas City, and he decided not to because he'd be behind Tyreek and Kelsey, and maybe even to some degree McCole Hardman. Whereas in Pittsburgh, he knows what his role is, so he took less to go there. Took less to go there as opposed to, as JLC reported, Baltimore that wanted to give him $9.5 million reportedly. But he's like, that's a running team, and if the plan is to sign a 1-year deal, and basically what I call the Honey Badger move, where you forget that Honey Badger played for the Texans for 1 year. That was a 1-year, $7 million deal. And he did it, and he made himself a lot of money and went to 2 Super Bowls. And I think that's sort of what Juju's thinking about. Golladay got good money, and maybe he's okay with that money, but I would imagine he wanted more than that.
Yeah, he probably wanted more than that. But I also think, with Golladay, he came out of Northern Illinois at the age of 24. Like is Juju 24 right now?
Oh, he did? I didn't know he's that old. Yeah, Juju's really young.
Yeah, so Golladay will turn 28 in this season, which means that so if he played 4 years for the Lions, I am of the opinion that he did sort of what AJ Green did 2 years ago, which is when he got a little banged up and he realized the Lions were going to be awful, he's pushed back his return by not getting healthy very quickly. And I have no qualms about that whatsoever, because if you come back and you re-injure yourself playing for a team that's, going to win 3 to 5 games, and whose season is essentially already over, you are absolutely in a COVID season, no less, you are absolutely putting your long-term future at risk. And clearly, those games missed didn't affect him that much because he got top 10 wide receiver money. I think this is also sort of and I really, really like Kenny Golladay, like as a player. So
I love him.
Yeah, I do too. I have no problem with this contract. The age thing is a little concerning. Like
Juju is 24.
Yeah. You're talking about, you're getting him in his prime, but if it's was it a 4-year deal or a 5-year deal?
4. This is his last big contract.
Yeah, exactly. This and that's sort of why if you're Golladay, you're like, look, I don't care where I'm going, and I don't care who's paying me, but I want to get paid because this is really my last chance to do so. So I I no qualms whatsoever. I think that he's a really good player. I think he's
the exact player that the Giants need too.
Yes, correct.
He's that type. And to your point, I didn't realize he was so old. You don't even want to sign a Juju Smith-Schuster 1-year deal, even if it's for $20 million, because then you're going to be 28 next year coming out, and then you're never getting more than a 2 or 3 year deal either. Anyway, so this is probably the best of both worlds for him and the Giants.
Yeah, and I think this also shows that I had said this, right? I said that Dave Gettleman was going to go all in on and double down on himself, right? He is in meaning that he needs Daniel Jones. He was going to pay Leonard Williams, and he did that. He is going to try to figure out a way to make Daniel Jones a better player in 2021, because that will make Dave Gettleman's job more secure. And so I think I'm not surprised that he went out and got the best wide receiver on the market, even if it was possibly an overpay based on Galladay's history, age, performance, and all of that. And then
by the way, this is how you do it, Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy. You don't go out and sign Andy Dalton, a Nick Foles clone, and magically say everything's fixed.
Yeah, and I also think you're going to see Gettleman give Saquon Barkley a contract extension this offseason. But we'll see. I'm just telling you, he's just going in on himself because that's what he believes will save his job. And so I'm not entirely shocked by it. I do think.
Here, one more thing before you move on. We do the draft stuff. A quick question. We've been pimping. We've been pumping up the football team on their offseason moves. Kenny Golladay and Kyle Rudolph now for this offense.
And John Ross.
Oh, John Ross. Saquon's coming back. I mean, are they going to be in the mix as well?
I think I can talk myself into the Giants being. I don't. Jason Garrett is a concern, a big concern. But Andrew
that defense was pretty good last year.
Andrew Thomas played a lot better down the stretch. Mm-hmm. Will Hernandez is a player on the interior. They got some issues on the right side of their line. I think Evan Ingram, Kyle Rudolph, Saquon, Kenny Golladay, Darius Slayton, and John Ross, along with Sterling Shepard. And that's a lot of talent at the skill position. If that offensive line is decent, is it like average, and Daniel Jones can stop turning the ball over every single game, yes, the Giants can be in the mix. That Patrick Graham really had a breakout season as a defensive coordinator for them. James Bradbury looked like a really nice signing, even though he's an expensive cornerback in free agency. Dexter Lawrence just played well. I don't know that he's going to live up to his draft stock, but I think he's a good player. And Larry Williams had a massive breakout season. So, yeah, why not? I mean, I think I would.
This division could actually end up being pretty good after being wholly unwatchable last year.
Are the Eagles the worst team in the division? That's not even like a poke at Devo. It's just, I mean, it is, but it's not.
Yeah, I mean, it's the most chaotic, which is nuts to say in a division with football team.
It really is. The stable football team. If you had to pick, would you go football team or Giants? I'm a little worried that we're all on the football team.
So is Daniel Jones better than Ryan Fitzpatrick? Because I'm not sure he is.
It might be the same player.
They're basically the same guys 20 years apart.
Yeah, it really might be. That's a great comp, actually.
So yeah,
I'll take the experience.
And they have that defense, which is lights out. I'll just go with the Giants to mix it up. But and it's funny, there's no Cowboys in the mix.
They just don't have any defense.
Right.
Daniel Jones for his career has, where are his fumbles? They're down on running.
He had like 18 at one point.
He's led the league in fumbles the last 2 years.
Yeah, that's not good.
29 fumbles and 22 interceptions in his first 2 years. That's a lot. Problem, Danny Dimes. You can't fumble that much. You just can't. So that's certainly a concern there. But yeah, I mean, I think the Giants and look, Joe Judge, good first season.
Yeah.
So let's see how he comes around in his second season. But certainly, I think you have to like what you saw from the Giants in that first year. And Kenny Golladay, a nice little add-on for them that probably, Ryan, takes them out from drafting a quarterback and drafting a wide receiver in the first round.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, and you mentioned the offensive line, and that's certainly a need for them. And they could address that in my latest mock draft. This is mock draft 6 that we're doing on the Pick 6 podcast. I've done 29 mock drafts on the old internet machine. And this week, coming out Monday, the 22nd, I have the Giants taking Micah Parsons, the linebacker, to bolster that defense. Debo's guy from Penn State. He's like a top 5 player, but he's may fall down because of quarterbacks and offensive tackles and whatnot. But they could go offensive lineman there. I had, in fact, in this mock draft, I didn't have Penei Sewell going till 10th because there were some trades involved. 3 teams traded up into the first round. 2 teams traded up into the first round. 1 traded down. So Penei Sewell slipped a little bit while there was a run on quarterbacks. So Penei Sewell maybe somehow finds his way to the Giants. That would certainly be an option there. They could draft Rashawn Slater or Elijah Vera Tucker there if they wanted to bolster the offensive line. There's probably, I'm trying to think, the linebacker class has 3 or 4 really good guys at the top. The offensive line class is a little deeper, so maybe the Giants wait to address that. But this week, Micah Parsons, but you could certainly talk me into an offensive lineman. But yeah, I think the days of them taking Jalen Waddle or Devonta Smith are gone because clearly they just paid $72 million to Kenny Golladay.
Yeah, and I mean that's why free agency matters for mock drafts. Like, I mean it does. Like, you can't really take a look at what these teams are going to do until you know how they're going to handle free agency. Like if Golladay goes somewhere else, the Giants feel like a lock to take a wide receiver, but clearly let
me bring it back to this because I was on the Atlanta Falcons podcast last week with our buddy Matt Tabik, and the Falcons tweeted it out or whatever, just talking draft stuff. A lot of Falcons fans are done with Matt Ryan. Like, you're of the opinion he's back for the next 2 years. I was looking up to double check his dead cap hit as a June 1st cut is $25 million. His dead cap hit the following year is $25 million. Are we sure he's going to be there for 2 years?
No.
Oh, okay. Like, would they how? Where are you at on the probability?
I think that he will. I think it would be really difficult for the Falcons to dump him this year because you can do it after June 1st.
Mm-hmm.
That would be really disrespectful to like maybe the greatest player in franchise history.
Maybe.
I mean, who's better, Mike Vick? And I mean, Matt Ryan won an MVP.
I know Dion was there, but he was
but
he was everywhere. But at number 4, if Arthur Smith loves one of these quarterbacks, are you telling him no? Is Terry Fontenot?
No. I mean,
so you take a quarterback at 4?
Yeah, I think. I think.
I mean, you could certainly keep Matt Ryan on the roster and have whoever sit on the bench for a year.
I think if you take a quarterback, that's the play. Is you're like, and Matt Ryan, I don't think would be upset if the Falcons took a quarterback either. Like, I don't think that would bother him because he understands where he's at with this franchise. And Arthur Blank had made those comments this offseason that, the Falcons, that he was going to let the new coaching staff and the new GM decide how to handle all players, including Matt Ryan. And it felt like for a while there, Matt Ryan was almost certainly done. But, he has a $65 million dead cap hit this season if they cut him.
Until June 1st, though, right?
Yeah. So if you cut, but I don't think the Falcons can. So if you cut him after June 1st, you save $2 million on the cap. Like, that's not even worth it, Right. And then you have dragged out this process with, again, the greatest player in your franchise's history, arguably he's on the Mount Rushmore of your franchise, and you're going to drag it out and then cut him after June 1st when everybody else has filled all of their holes. I think what might be more likely would be, and I don't, if you could do a post June 1 trade, that feels a little tough. And then even next year, his dead cap hit is $40.5 million before June 1st.
Oh, it's another June 1. Okay.
Yeah. So like you could definitely get out of it after this year. I mean, like
and their salary cap situation is already dire. So it's not
they are in a disastrous salary cap situation. Yeah. So I think they're going to ride with Matt Ryan for 2 years. And I think that if they win this year,
fans, I was sort of surprised because I thought fans would be on board. No, not according to Twitter. A lot of them aren't. And what I found is that fans will pretty quickly turn on a team legend if he's old and starts sucking. See Ben Roethlisberger. Like the only exception, Tom Brady even caught some heat when he sucked last year, but that wasn't his fault. I think the only exception might be Aaron Rodgers. I haven't heard Packers fans whinge about Aaron Rodgers, or have you?
Oh, yeah. I think Packers fans, Packers fans whinge about Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Matt Ryan wasn't even that bad last year.
Yeah,
Falcons were just
Falcons fans don't want to hear it.
Yeah, they really don't.
I was surprised by that.
His MVP season was 2016. But like, all right, so his MVP season, he completed 69.9% of his passes, 4,944 passing yards, 38 touchdowns, which is absurd. Seven interceptions, and averaged 9.3 yards per passing attempt, which is obviously led the league and is outrageous. Since then, his per 16 game numbers, he's completed 66.4% of his passes over the last 4 years. That's good. Average per 16 games, 4,588 passing yards, 27 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and 7.6 yards per attempt. Like, that's just a good quarterback.
Yeah.
This is not on him. Like, he didn't have protection last year.
And he's running for his life. That's right. He's running for his life. So anyway, as Steve puts up there, I have him taking Kyle Pitts, the tight end at number 4, assuming they're going to stay with Matt Ryan. And I love Kyle Pitts. So I think that helps the offense. Obviously doesn't help the defense, but that's something else they have to figure out.
Is there a chance that, like, completely independent of position, that Kyle Pitts is the best player in this draft?
Oh yeah, no, there are people. You wouldn't get much of an argument from me on that, and I felt that way for a while. And a lot of people are sort of, as they go through these players, are like, "Oh my God, this guy Kyle Pitts is really good." Yeah, because people yell and scream about Jamar Chase should be above Kyle Pitts sometimes at me in these mock drafts. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I mean, you do understand that this isn't law. This is just me putting on a mock draft every week, and I like Kyle Pitts a lot, and I think that there are a lot of people that do these mock drafts that feel similarly. He's awesome.
Yeah, he's great. And it's if you're just taking the best player, then why not? I mean, why not?
Yeah, the idea
is just take out Pitts, right? Like,
the idea is to minimize risk, and if the least risky player is Kyle Pitts, done and done. If the least risky player in your mind is Penei Sewell, take him. But yeah. I mean, there's a lot of risk with these quarterbacks, less so when you get to the skill position players.
Well, and that's sort of the other thing for me with Atlanta, because of their salary cap situation and because they're sort of locked into Matt Ryan. They're not locked in for 2 years. I mean, they can make a move if they need to. But I just sort of wonder if they won't put an emphasis on an impact guy for 2021 in this at the top of this draft.
And the other thing is, you can draft a quarterback, but if you draft Mitch Trubisky, given your current situation, in terms of Mitch Trubisky type talent, you don't know what you're getting. You just set yourself back another 3 or 4 years.
Oh, it's if you draft Justin Fields and he's not good, and he sits for a year behind Matt Ryan, and then Matt Ryan
stinks it up.
Yeah, I mean, like it's if you take Jordan Love, like you put yourself in a Jordan Love situation, and if the Falcons are remotely decent, people will be questioning it because, like, why did you use this on a quarterback when, you had a chance to be good this year? I think they want to be good this year. I think they want to compete. I think Kyle Pitts makes a lot of sense. I know, Falcons fans told you that they had Hayden Hurst, but let's settle down. Like, you put
1 year left on his deal.
Yeah, and I mean he's been okay as a former first rounder. I mean, give me Pitts and let's see if we can cook with some gas. Make the offensive line steps up, plays well. Man, they are thin on offensive line though.
Yeah. I mean, they got some work to do, and they're in a tough division.
Yeah, they are. All right. Anyway, you mentioned the trades up. Another NFC South team is involved in the first one, as you had the Panthers, my Carolina Panthers. I feel like they're
Carolina Panthers.
My Carolina Panthers trading up to grab Justin Fields at number 2 overall. What a move up the board for Carolina. Do you do the actual trade, or you just have the team swap?
Oh yeah. So part of the reason I did this is because I'm tired of mocking Zach Wilson to the Jets at number 2.
Sure.
So I had the Jets trade down, and I think that Justin Fields is a great fit in Carolina. He reminds me of he's a more polished Cam Newton at this point in the proceedings. He's a better passer than Cam coming out. He can run just like Cam can, probably faster. I don't think they've had their pro day yet, but he's expected to run pretty fast. So anyway, the Panthers get number 2 and number 147. The Jets get number 8, number 73, and a 2021 first rounder. So that's sort of rich. It works out a little bit in the favor of the Jets just because it's such a high pick. But, you're giving basically a first rounder and a third rounder to move up 6 spots. And if you love Justin Fields, if that's your guy, then I think it makes some sense. And I think that's a guy where Teddy Bridgewater starts the first month of the season, and then you bring Justin Fields in. And we know that Dave Tepper's been super aggressive about building this team. There are reports, I don't know if it's confirmed, but he's all in on trying to get Deshaun Watson there. And if that doesn't work out, Justin Fields is not a bad number 2.
What do you think the chances are? Wait, did you just tell me what they gave up? I didn't hear it. Sorry.
Yeah.
The
Panthers get number 2 and 147, and the Jets get number 8, number 73, and a 2021 first rounder.
That's a pretty spicy trade. Now, let me ask you this. If the Panthers move to number 2, do you think that they have a chance to see? I kind of think that there's a chance a team might move up to 2, 3, or 4, and then use that pick to trade for Deshaun Watson.
Oh, that I like.
Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do a mock draft and do that.
You do that. That's actually a good one.
So it's like, in other words, like it looks like the Panthers are going up to get a Zach Wilson or a Justin Fields, but they're really just getting the Texans the opportunity to get Justin Fields.
And we
Zach
talked
Wilson.
to Sully about the idea that once this draft starts, you have an extra year in terms of draft picks to trade as well.
Correct. So in theory, the Panthers could get to 2, and then while on the clock, engineer a Deshaun Watson trade.
That is waiting to the very last second if you're the Texans, not to screw yourself.
Yes, it is. And you could have a situation too where, like, if things go haywire and you don't get the trade, or however it goes, like you don't get the trade in, and as a result,
like the Panthers want to get to number 2, but the Eagles trade to number 2, and they don't give a crap about Deshaun Watson. The Texans are screwed.
Well, no, I'm saying like the Panthers make the deal for the draft picks ahead of time, but then, like, while the Texans are trying to engineer the deal, the clock runs out, and the Dolphins snatch Zach Wilson or something crazy like that. And the Dolphins move up to 2 and hold the Texans ransom. I don't know. I think you're onto something in the sense that you're correct about David Tepper and just how aggressive he wants to be in the pursuit of a quarterback. And I believe that they went into last year, rebooting the front office. You rebooted the front office this offseason, I guess, but you brought in Matt Rule, and the plan, I think, was to get Teddy Bridgewater and then slowly sort of find an opportunity to land a quarterback in the draft. This stuff with Watson and Stafford and Wentz and Russ Wilson, all these quarterbacks that want trades or have been traded, I think has sparked something in David Tepper, and he's just not going to let it go. And he is going to figure out a way to get a quarterback, and it's going to be a big splashy move. So I like the idea of them moving up to 2. And I do worry though that 2022 first rounder might be a good one for the Panthers. I'd be a little worried about that.
Yeah, that's the other thing. You gotta, it has to be 20 or below. I think the Steelers last year.
That might not be happening.
The Steelers last year, you're right. I mean, but if you're being aggressive and to win and all the other stuff, that's what you want to happen.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if Justin Fields is awesome. Whoever you get is awesome, but it doubles your risk.
You don't want to be the Texans, who now gave the Dolphins a number 3 pick.
Right. Yeah.
You want to be the Steelers with Minka Fitzpatrick, which gave the 20-something pick.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Carolina can afford to do that with their roster and just.
But if you get the next Cam Newton, is that worth an extra first-round pick?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the math you have to do and talk yourself into it if Justin Fields or whoever is your guy at number 2.
I'm just sort of thinking Carolina is like, if they go 8-8, that might be a good season.
The issue with trading up to number 2, though, and giving up, let's say, a third rounder this year and a first rounder next year, and then flipping that for Deshaun,
Watson.
is that you're not going to have another first round. You're going to be like the Rams. You're never going to have another first round pick because you had to give up a first round pick to the Jets, and then you have to give 3 more first round picks for Deshaun Watson.
Right.
Or maybe it's less because you have Justin Fields. Maybe it's 2 and Justin Fields, but still, that's 3 first round picks you're out.
Oh yeah, you could do that. You draft Justin Fields and then trade him. Yeah, that would work too. I mean, I just think with the Panthers and that possibility, if I trade for Watson, I feel like I'm gonna win 8+ games. If I trade up for Fields at 2, I'm feeling like I might win 8 games.
It's 4 and 8, between 4 and 8 is the ceiling. Yeah.
And you get a couple bad breaks, and all of a sudden you win 3 games, and you're giving up the number 1 overall pick in 2022. And
I mean, Justin Herbert balled out, and they won 7 games, and they have the 13th pick.
Right, exactly. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll tell you what the other top 10 trade was in Ryan Wilson's mock draft. Okay, the 49ers. Hello. For whatever reason in this mock, you have Zach Wilson plummeting down the board to number 6. And when he got there, the Eagles, oh man, do you know, would Eagles fans be angry? I think Eagles fans would be angry if the Eagles traded out of 6 with Zach Wilson sitting there to the 49ers. I guess we could ask Debo. Debo, are you worried your audio is going to screw up again, or are you going to answer us?
We can try it out today. How would I sound?
Sound great.
Great. No, I don't think trading back is a bad possibility. I do think that if Penei Sewell is there at 6, Eagles fans don't want to trade up for him. But if he's sitting there, that's kind of the guy that you're just like, okay, we can't pass on this guy. So I think that's a common sentiment amongst Eagles fans, where I think the fan base is kind of torn on how they want to approach or attack a potential quarterback selection.
Oh, I like the Penei Sewell thing. That's a good idea. Yeah, the Eagles have so many needs. And, I had him taking Patrick Surtain. I don't think I've had him taking a cornerback in a really long time. But you look at the roster, let me see what I wrote. They just signed Anthony Harris, which is for 1 year, $5 million, which is nuts. Surtain, they have Darius Slay signed through 2025. But after that, everyone else is on a 1-year deal. None of those guys have any experience outside of Avonte Maddox. So they do have needs in the secondary and the cornerback as well. But I think Penei Sewell does make a lot of sense at 6. So what happens? Let's see what they got. The 49ers get number 6, the Eagles get number 12 and number 43. So they move down 6 spots and pick up a second-round pick. So at 12, they could have drafted an offensive lineman. Of course, they didn't have them doing that. And then at 43, they can circle back, and I think they have another second-round pick. So I don't know. I think the compensation works out about right. But to Debo's point, Eagles fans may prefer. So, Debo, you'd prefer Penei Sewell over Zach Wilson, for example?
Yeah, I think so. Not Trey Lance, though. Not Trey Lance. I'm sticking on that one.
Debo's on the North Dakota State train no matter what.
I don't know that the quarterbacks are going to fall this far.
Well, they never go in the top 5, but maybe this is the year. I don't know. The Falcons could take. I mean, you're right. The Falcons could take one at 4. The Bengals could. Some team could swap. The 49ers could trade up with the Bengals. The Lions could take one at 7. I had the Jets trading down from 2 to 8, and I had them taking Mac Jones at 8 just because I love Mac Jones. I know to anger a large subset of people. Mac Jones is going to the top 10. That's the hill I'm going to die on. It may not happen, but I'm happy to be on the right side of that if it does. The Broncos at 9. I've heard people say the Broncos.
Wait, you had Trey Lance going. You have Trey Lance going 13 to the Bears.
The Bears traded up to get him.
Bears fans would love that.
So, I mean, there's a chance. I've talked to scouts that think Mac Jones is a better prospect than Justin Fields and Trey Lance.
Wow.
Which people go, you must be talking to someone on drugs. But I'm telling you, and I told you this before.
He's definitely has a higher floor.
Teams are risk averse.
Yep.
There's a lot of uncertainty with these guys. I mean, Justin Fields and Trey Lance could be amazing, but if your job is to not lose next year, because I can do this forever, but you lose, you get fired, then you're going to go with as you mentioned, the high floor guy. Mac Jones is the high floor guy. So Trey Lance can slip. He hasn't played in over a year. He had played that one game that really didn't matter. So the Bears had going from 20th to 13th, and they just gave a second round pick, and they got like a 7th rounder or 6th rounder in return from the Chargers. So I mean that would actually, I don't think that happens because that would make Pace and Nagy look pretty smart. Like, after Nick Foles debacle and Andy Dalton debacle, or soon to be debacle, maybe he has a MVP year, I don't know, but trading up 7 spots to get a franchise quarterback. I mean, Bears fans would be, after being beaten down over the last year and a half, they would be elated. But it seems like a stretch. But I liked it in terms of being a smart move.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a good move. Like if you're a team like the Bears, if you're Ryan Pace and you think you're about to get canned because Andy Dalton and this team is going to stink in 2021, it makes a lot of sense to invest in another quarterback. Now, I don't know. I mean,
how many quarterbacks do you think? How high are all these 5 quarterbacks going?
I think they all go in the top. I guess you have them all going in the top 15.
Yeah, but okay, your top 4. How many you're in your top 4? How many of those guys? How long until they're all off the board?
So I think the Jets. I think one guy will go at number 2, and you have that happening. I think. So in my opinion, this could look a lot like the 2018 draft, where you get Baker 1, Darnold 2, Allen goes at 7. Rosen at 10,
man, and then Lamar at 32, I think.
Yeah, and I mean the thing is with these quarterbacks is that as much as these teams need quarterbacks and want like I think you're getting quarterbacks go 1 and 2, but there is a saturation of quarterbacks around the league. Like it's not like it's not like there's 15 desperate teams looking for a quarterback out there. So
a lot of them in the top 10 are though.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I mean it's when you look at who's up there. Obviously, the Jaguars are taking Trevor Lawrence. That's set in stone. The Jets at 2. I mean, the Dolphins at 3 are acting like they won't, and I don't think they will, but it's not entirely off the table. Right. The Falcons, the only teams who definitely aren't taking the Bengals are not taking a quarterback. The who else is definitely not taking a quarterback in the top?
Are the Eagles not taking one? Definitely, I
don't think so.
The Lions, excuse me.
No, Lions are definitely in the market for a quarterback.
Panthers,
49ers, Broncos. The Cowboys are definitely not taking a quarterback. And I feel like we can say that the Giants are definitely not taking a quarterback.
I do wonder if Justin Fields falls to 11 or something. Do they think about it? Or Dave Gettleman's not doing it. He's not doing it no matter what. Trevor Lawrence could be there at 11, and Dave Gettleman's not taking Trevor Lawrence.
It would be such an indictment of Daniel Jones if he took Trevor. Yeah, that would be funny. It's like, well, we talked about that. We're like, if the Giants get the number 1 pick, what do they do? Because Dave Gettleman's all in on Daniel Jones, but Trevor Lawrence is a generational prospect.
Yep.
So yeah, I think with that much interest in quarterbacks, with this many good quarterbacks, that you'll see several guys go. I think they'll all be gone by the top. I'm not putting Mac Jones in the top 15 for sure. I think 4 go in the top 15 almost certainly.
Oh yeah, that's not hardcore. I think man like top 7 or 8.
I'll say 4 in the top 10. How about that?
Yeah, you won't get any disagreement with me on that because that's usually how these mock drafts sort of falling out. But then there are teams like the Bears, Patriots, Steelers that could all trade up. Saints that all might be trying to trade up, and that is great news for those teams at the top that may want to trade down.
Yeah. Do you think there's a chance that the Bears take Mac Jones? It feels like a pretty Bearsy pick.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I would love for them to take Mac Jones, not for Mac Jones' sake, because I actually think Mac Jones is good, but just because it will make Bears fans so irate.
They would be so freaking mad.
If Nick Foles and Andy Dalton had a baby, it would be Mac Jones.
That's exactly right. Let's see what else of interest in here. Asante Samuel, Rondell Moore slid in the back in the first round. I don't think they were there last time. And you have
Asante Samuel I don't know if he's been in a long time, but I like him a lot. He actually compared himself to Jair Alexander, and that's funny because that's exactly what BMAC said after he had watched him. And he's nasty. He's like a nastier version of Janoris Jenkins, who just got released by the Saints. So I think he fits there. I get the Ravens a wide receiver. Sometimes they go back to the edge rusher. I think they re-upped Tyus Bowser. I'm not sure if they did anything else in free agency on the edge. But this time I had him taking Kadarius Toney, wide receiver. Typically, I like to give him a bigger wide receiver. And we talked about this in the podcast, opposite Hollywood Brown. But I feel like Kadarius Toney, even though he's 5'11", plays much bigger. And he can catch the ball short, intermediate, or long. And that certainly helps Lamar. So he's not a gadget player necessarily, which Hollywood sort of feels like. But Kadarius Toney, I think, is a good fit in Baltimore.
Okay, I dig it. What other matchups did you like when I saw Greg Rousseau jumps up? Was he out of the first round the last time?
Yeah, and I'm interested to see where he ends up going because he didn't play last year. He's a converted wide receiver. He's 6'7", but his lower body's sort of slight. Like he's not thick-legged. He's not like Anthony Barr or Julius Peppers, for example. He's more like a basketball body. So he's got to get stronger. Maybe he's been doing that over the last year and change. So I want to see what happens there. But he's a high upside guy as the thing goes. I have the Dolphins taking Travis Etienne at 18. What do you think
I was about to ask that. I just brought up the Dolphins depth chart because, man, I mean,
they signed Malcolm Brown
and Will Fuller.
I mean, as running back.
Oh yeah, but you have Jamar Chase going 3rd overall, and then to the Dolphins, and then have him taking Travis Etienne at 18 overall. I mean, I don't know how you're not friggin' thrilled as a Dolphins fan. And I mean, that's one of those where it would be, that's Tua's, you're writing winners and losers, and Tua is a big winner because the Dolphins
win with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So Will Fuller, you mentioned they signed, but he's still he has to miss one game anyway. And then
he'll miss the first week. Yeah.
And then there's the injury history. So
and Fuller signed a 1-year deal, right? I mean, that's a Band-Aid situation.
And you're still taking Jamar Chase there if you love him. And then so Travis Etienne, he ran 4.4 at the 40, he can catch the ball at his pro day, he can catch the ball, obviously run the ball. So and they made a lot of moves in free agency as well. So I think that's sort of helps them, and as you point out, helps Tua Tagovailoa.
Okay, yeah, I dig it. I think I like, because we know their defense can ball out. It played really well last year. Tua has to take a leap forward, but if you give him, you give him all those weapons, man, and you get an offensive line that's playing a little bit better. Maybe need a little more depth there. Some higher. You could. I mean, there would be nothing wrong with investing in the offensive line again if you're Miami. But I like the idea of just plopping some skill guys around Tua and seeing if it's the answer.
Yeah, they drafted Robert Hunt and Austin Jackson last year. I think Hunt actually played outside. Jackson started at left tackle. Ted Karras went back to New England. They signed Matt Skura, so they could certainly have fill some needs along the depth, the interior offensive line, that is. Interestingly, the Patriots, who signed 455 people in the first week of free agency, it was impossible to find them a need to fill other than quarterback. So I am convinced now more than ever that their plan is to move up for a quarterback.
So okay, well you had him going 15th, or you had him taking 15th. Elijah Vera Tucker, offensive tackle out of USC. I agree with you, and I think that the move for Belichick is pretty obvious. You take 15, you add Stephon Gilmore to it, and you call somebody in the top 10 and ask them if they want to make a trade, and you try to get up.
That's it though, just 15 and Stephon.
I think that would get it done. Maybe.
How far does that get you up? 7?
Yeah, maybe 6 with the Eagles. Debo, would you trade 6 for 15 and Stephon Gilmore?
Stephon Gilmore's better than what's his face that I had going there, Patrick Surtain.
Yeah, I'm doing that. Darius Slay and Stephon Gilmore. I know they're a little older, but I'm taking that.
Darius Slay and Stephon Gilmore is a spicy little quarterback combo,
and you get the 15th pick.
Yeah, and I mean, to me.
Oh, so let me put it this way: so you get Stephon Gilmore and Elijah Vera Tucker for the number 6 pick. That's actually pretty good because Vera Tucker can play guard or tackle, and he's really good.
It's going to suck when Jalen Hurts is still throwing to AJ Arcega-Whiteside next year and not Jamar Chase. But
maybe you throw him into the trade too. You'd send him to New England just to get rid of him.
I mean, honestly, if that might be the difference right there for Howie is like if Jamar Chase, Kyle Pitts, or Jalen Waddle, and maybe Devontae Smith, like if he takes one of those pass catchers at 6, Eagles fans will cut him some slack for at least like 3 months.
Until the guy gets in the field and gets hurt. Yeah.
Right. I mean, people are mad that Howie Roseman keeps taking, like, trying to be the adorable guy who keeps like, oh, JJ Arcega-Whiteside. Oh, like trust me, Jalen Reagor, best, this is our guy in the draft. It's like Justin Jefferson was on the board, bro. What are you doing?
So I like Jalen Reagor last year. I like the pick, but Debo, you said at the time, even Eagles fans were like, why aren't you taking Justin Jefferson? Is that right?
Yeah, I think that was clear after they missed out and, the Cowboys got CeeDee Lamb. That was upsetting to the fan base. I like Reagor too, though. So I can't, I was on your side. I was not super upset at the time. Turned out to be wrong through year 1 on that.
Yeah. And look, it's 1 year. 1 year does not define a career, which is what I keep whispering to myself every time I'm reminded that I told Prisco Justin Herbert wouldn't be very good.
Yeah, Prisco fell into that one.
I know.
He's still got Christian Ponder.
Oh! Oh, dunk on.
Learn the game.
Learn the game. All right. Anything else that we need to cover from this mock draft?
No, I don't think so. I think that's a good recitation of the high points.
Oh, you had Kadarius Toney going to the Ravens at 27. I like that.
Yeah. I talked about that earlier while you were looking at something else. I do like Debo's note on the Eagles potentially targeting someone like Panay Sewell. That's actually, I'll make a mental note of that. What else we got? The Steelers had him take an offensive lineman, which isn't necessarily noteworthy. But a name that I was hoping would fall to them, and I couldn't even make myself do it, is Greg Newsome, the cornerback out of Northwestern, who's really good. He had a great pro day, played really well during the season, but he's at Northwestern, so a lot of people didn't know about him. He'll probably end up being a first-round pick as one of the best cornerbacks.
Wow, so Northwestern could have multiple first-round picks in this draft.
Northwestern could, and Virginia Tech could, which is bonkers.
Virginia Tech's at least been good at who's the other one besides Caleb Farley?
Caleb Farley and Christian Darrisaw, the offensive tackle. Northwestern, their coach Pat Fitzgerald, I think.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Does a great job. So he does a lot with the little in the Big Ten.
They were good this year, man.
Yeah, so that's noteworthy, but he doesn't get 5 stars, but he wins with 3 stars, and he turns them into pros. So in some level, it's like, oh, it's a product of great coaching, but it's also these kids, making it happen. But you're right. Yeah, it's.
I think there's something to that though. Like, if I'm going to invest in a guy at the NFL level, I mean, of course, you want somebody with a great pedigree and who's been highly recruited and dominated at all levels and all that. But if you develop into a really good player coming from a program like Northwestern, I feel like there's a little bit of security to that. When you're taking that guy, you're
not taking a 5-star that went to Alabama and may or may not care about football and gets by on sheer talent as opposed to hard work.
Right. Yeah. You're getting somebody who's going to come in and grind. I mean, that's like a Garrett Bradbury type.
4.91.
He's a 3-star tight end.
Yeah. That's the thing. A lot of those guys are tight ends and convert. Like either in high school, everyone either played quarterback and then moved to skill position, or the offensive lineman role tight ends. One more thing and we'll go. Najee Harris, 32, the Buccaneers. How you like that? Did you bring that playoff Lenny?
That has Clyde Edwards-Helaire feel to it, where it's like,
how so? Just because it's 32?
Yeah, 32. You're the defending champ. You take a running back in the first round.
That's true. What holes do they need to fill, though? I mean, Bruce Arians was cursing up a storm when he said we're bringing everyone back, and he's tried to do that in large part. So I don't know.
I mean, they haven't
brought back Lenny. That's the only one.
Yeah. They haven't brought back Ndamukong Suh yet either, have they?
I don't think so. Are you rolling with Rojo and Keyshawn Vaughn? That's it?
I know. It's weird. I feel like you can trust Rojo, but if you don't have Lenny and Rojo gets hurt, then all of a sudden your feature back is Keyshawn Vaughn. That's a problem for a team that absolutely has shown they want to run the football. So yeah, I don't mind it. Antonio Brown, they haven't brought back either.
Too, yeah. So and Lenny has. You talking about they re-signed Lenny because he's not been re-signed yet?
No, Leonard Fournette, Ndamukong Suh, and Antonio Brown have not been re-signed by the Bucs. I would be surprised if Antonio Brown goes anywhere else.
Yeah,
like anybody, I would be shocked if anybody else wants to deal with Antonio Brown.
He's still living with Brady, so maybe he doesn't want to move out.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, yeah. Look, they need help at the running back position. They need depth, and Najee Harris would be a good fit there.
Yeah, but it does have a little CEH feel.
Would you prefer one of the Carolina guys to Najee Harris?
Yeah, there's some talk that Javonte Williams might end up being the number 1 running back in this class, which is super spicy, to use your word. I'm fine. Like, these guys are all pretty close to me in terms of how I feel about them. None of that I wouldn't like. Michael Carter probably is going to be a 2nd-round pick, maybe early 3rd-round pick, but Javonte Williams, I love.
Do you think, as I look up this, so odds, I swear they were on here before.
Draft odds?
Yes, I saw some draft odds out. I was going to.
For the running backs?
I thought there was a running back one. I was going to see what the.
I bet Javonte's closer than probably people think.
I bet you get Javonte. Find some NFL draft odds. We'll do a full NFL draft odds show, obviously, leading into the draft. But you can, when they put these things up, they put them up fast, and if you can jump on some stuff, you can get crazy good value before the draft. Like we got Patrick Williams in the NBA draft. Patrick Williams.
I was like, wait, I haven't watched Patrick Williams.
Bovada has next quarterback to retire: Ben Roethlisberger, Alex Smith, Tom Brady, Ryan Fitzpatrick, or Aaron Rodgers. Big Ben's the huge favorite.
I feel like Fitzpatrick, is he gonna play next year?
Big Ben's -105. Fitz is 14-1.
Really?
Yeah, that's
to
wild,
play in
man.
2022. I like Fitz.
I don't see. I wish I should have looked at this. I think Javonte Williams is worth a stab at like 5-1 or better as first running back taken.
Yeah, absolutely.
Although it would be really surprising if he went ahead of ETN, but
yeah, and I think teams like Etienne better than Najee Harris. I like Najee Harris a little better, but I mean, again, it's a half dozen to one.
Yeah,
but yeah, Javonte Williams is sort of the wild card, but don't sleep on him.
Okay. Love it. He might sneak into the first round, or maybe all of them will fall out of the first round. We shall see. We will keep doing these mocks as they roll on. Of course, we'll have much more free agency fallout as the off season continues. Ryan, thanks for your time as always, buddy. Thanks everybody for listening, for watching, for chatting. See you later.